What's going on, y'all? You're now watching the greatest channel that has ever existed. My name is Bitcoin Benito, and I truly appreciate you guys for being here with me. So today we're going to talk about something called financial nihilism. This video that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to explain to you, is by a popular crypto channel called 𝐂𝐫𝐲𝐩𝐭𝐨. He's going to go into the details of financial nihilism and how cryptocurrency, specifically the altcoins such as Pulsechain, Xen Crypto, Pepe Coin, and TitanX are the only ways that you can become super rich right now. Or unless you start like a crazy good business. But the easiest and best way to do that is to get into cryptocurrency. That's why I made this station. Okay, let's get into the video.
Why do you invest in cryptocurrency?
Why?
Chances are it's because you believe that it's the only way you can get ahead financially.
I want to be rich.
If that is the case, then you should know it's not just you. A growing number of people believe the only way to make meaningful amounts of money is to take massive risks with the little money they have. And this trend is only accelerating. That's why today we're going to explain exactly what this belief is, where it came from, the effects it's having, when it will be addressed, and how you can overcome these dynamics in the meantime.
Yeah, so like he said, the only way that the only way that a lot of people believe that you can become rich and financially independent is to invest into risky assets such as cryptocurrency. And he's saying that he wants to talk about how you can overcome this and stuff like that. I don't think you should overcome it. I think that cryptocurrency is the greatest invention that has ever occurred since the creation of the internet. And before that, the next good invention was the computer. Before that was antibiotics. So cryptocurrency in its innovation and its power to change the world is on the same level as the internet, as antibiotics, almost as good as agriculture itself. Maybe not that good because, you need agriculture to survive, but it's absolutely mind-boggling.
And it's starting to become a hot topic, particularly in crypto. Dimitri's definition of financial nihilism is actually different from what I just mentioned, though. In fact, it's even more accurate. According to Dimitri, financial nihilism is basically the belief, or rather the realization, that there is a disconnect between how much something costs and how much it's actually worth. Housing is a perfect example. There have been viral posts showcasing houses in cities like Toronto, London, Sydney, and NYC that are worth obscene amounts of money despite being...
And Washington, D.C., where I live, the prices are so crazy. In fact, I'm moving out of my current apartment because they keep increasing the rent by $150 every single year. I'm moving to another apartment that is a little bit smaller, maybe like 100 square feet smaller. It's not even that much smaller. And I'm saving about $700, right? And it makes me think, why is this current apartment charging me so much money when there's competition around? The reason is because there's other people that are willing to buy this apartment. I guarantee you, as soon as I cancel my lease, another person is going to snatch up my lease within the next week or two. It is wild.
Objectively low quality. Other viral posts, meanwhile, have pointed out that these properties cost the same as literal castles. Another excellent example is the stock market. Most stocks are worth exponentially more than the revenues of their associated companies would justify. And if we're honest, this is even truer in crypto. Just consider that 𝐂𝐫𝐲𝐿 is currently worth more than the Warner Brothers media conglomerate. And yet...
Dogecoin is worth a lot. Ethereum is worth a ridiculous amount. Pepe coin that I keep talking about is also worth a ridiculous amount. It is also a meme coin that's based on nothing. It's just based on the fact that it's going to grow in value because it goes through a special taxation process. But yes, this is truly the only way that we're going to become rich is to invest in cryptocurrency. That's the easiest, smartest way. Invest in cryptocurrency, sell all of it in 2025. And if you want to know exactly when to sell it in 2025 and exactly how to invest in it, please get my course at bitcoinbenito.com. You can see it down below what it's called. Here's the video that's also displaying it. Do that and you will gain financial freedom.
The cost of housing keeps going up, stock prices keep going up, and the value of meme coins continues to increase. Not only that, but every time it looks like the bubble is about to burst, governments and central banks step in to inflate it again, making the rich richer and the poor poorer. So, this begs the question of where this disconnect between price and value came from. From Dimitri's perspective, globalism seems to be the answer. Now, for the purposes of this video, you can think of globalism as being an economic policy that operates on a global rather than a national scale. In practical terms, this means outsourcing operations from countries where labor is expensive to countries where labor is cheap in order to cut costs.
Yeah, so the business owners, like I said, one of the best ways to become rich is to own a business. The business owners took out all of the manufacturing jobs specifically from America and moved them overseas to make them a lot more cheaper. And the most expensive part of any business is the payroll. So if you make the payroll very cheap, if you send your services over to Indonesia or to China, you cut your costs by maybe 90%, maybe more than that. At first, it started with like very minimalist manufacturing, repetitive jobs, but now it's actually happening with intelligent jobs such as software development. The only reason why I'm currently a software developer, and if you're watching this and you're a developer too, the only reason why you have your job in America is because of communication problems and time differences. That's literally the only reason. Otherwise, all the jobs are going to be going overseas when it comes to highly intelligent jobs such as information technology, program management, business analyst.
And maximize profits. This has been happening since the late 1980s, and it has had a profound impact on the world in ways which aren't always evident at first glance. For starters, globalism has caused the price of most goods and some services to fall sharply. Of course, this has been good for the average person because it's meant that they can buy more stuff than they could in the past.
I mean, yeah, I guess it is good for the average person, but you got to have your little doohickeys, whiz-wax from Walmart that is made completely from plastic, but you live in almost a welfare state. I don't know how it's going to be good in the long term. My idea is that if you don't get into cryptocurrency, luckily you're smart enough to watch this channel, but if you don't get into cryptocurrency or you're not lucky enough to start a business or smart enough to start a business that's very profitable, you're just going to have to suffer with UBI, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence that's absolutely blowing the world away. There was a video by OpenAI that just came out where there's an assistant that acts just like Scarlett Johansson in the movie Her. It's absolutely terrifying. As a person that works in technology, it terrifies me. It's not a good thing, it's terrifying. And it's going to take away so many jobs. Get into cryptocurrency, bruh.
It's also been good for powerful people because they've been able to make more money. Globalism has also kept interest rates low, particularly in the West. If you watched our video about the man who predicted everything, that's because the countries that were exporting all the goods that Western countries were buying would use that money to buy Western government debt, which had the effect of keeping rates low. Obviously, this too has been good for the average person because it means they've been able to borrow more. But it's been even better for powerful people because they've been able to borrow even more. Now, whereas the average person spent their borrowed money on goods, powerful people spent it on assets. And this...
Yes, and this is very intelligent for rich people to do this because assets will only increase in value due to inflation, due to the fact that it's just scarce. It's much, much better to buy land because we cannot create more land. Even if you dredge it up from the bottom of the sea and make more land, that dredged up land is way, way, way more expensive than the land that is just naturally here. So that's why it's a limited amount of people in the world, and therefore there's a limited amount of space that people can purchase and buy, and that land will only increase in value. This is the same way with cryptocurrency. This is the same way with gold and precious metals.
Has had two significant effects. The first was that it caused the prices of assets the average person needs, like for instance a house, to rise faster than their wages. At the same time, the prices of most goods continue to fall due to global outsourcing. The result is the disconnect between assets and the economy that we see today. The second effect this has had is an abnormal concentration of wealth among a small group of powerful people who have benefited the most from globalization, hence why they're often referred to as globalists. Now, naturally, most globalists either lead or are very invested in the largest global corporations. Dmitry noted in an interview that these globalists have amassed enough money and influence to create quasi-governmental structures that are even more influential than democratically elected governments. The world...
Yes, this is something called technocratics, where pretty much massive technology companies become so huge, so powerful, that they almost act like countries in themselves. Their wealth just continues to grow. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. I even read somewhere that in about 7 years or 10 years, the average net worth of the African-American community is going to be $0. Right now, it's about a couple $1,000s, but it's going to become $0. And the assets of every other race, too, is going to continue to decrease because we keep using credit cards. We keep using borrowed money, but we're not using it intelligently. We're not using it for things that will grow in value, such as cryptocurrency, such as houses, such as assets. We use it to buy stuff. We use it to buy cheap things that were manufactured by the jobs that were shipped overseas to Indonesia and China, like I said before.
Economic Forum, or WEF, is an easy example, and it's just one of many such structures. Logically, these quasi-governmental structures fundamentally exist to serve the interests of the globalists, not the average person. The result is the disconnect between the interests of the average person and their governments, whose policies are ultimately dictated by globalist institutions.
In case you didn't know, your government doesn't care about you. Your government is not going to save you. The only reason why the government actually ever does anything nice for you is so that we don't revolt and so that we don't overthrow it. But otherwise, the government does not care about you at all. Oops. The government just wants to become as powerful as possible and become as rich as possible. And that's why you should invest in cryptocurrency. I'm not saying to overthrow the government. Calm down, YouTubers. I'm not saying anything like that. But I am saying that you need to invest into yourself because no one is coming to save you. This video is actually kind of long. It's very interesting. I'm going to have a second section of it coming out later, probably tomorrow. And I'm telling you this because I thank you, I love you, I appreciate you. Let's get this money.